Did you know that the oldest human remains weren't found in Europe or Asia, but in Africa? This simple fact rewrites the entire narrative of human history. Today, we're diving deep into Zeinab Badawi's extraordinary book, An African History of Africa, From the Dawn of Humanity to Independence. This isn't just another history book, it's a long overdue corrective to centuries of Eurocentric narratives that have sidelined African voices and achievements. Zeinab Badawi, a Sudanese-British broadcaster, filmmaker, and journalist, brings a unique perspective to this monumental work. Her background allows her to navigate the complexities of African history with both scholarly rigor and a deep understanding of the continent's diverse cultures and experiences. The book opens with a powerful symbol, Dinknesh, also widely known as a Lucy. This hominin female, whose remains were discovered in Ethiopia in 1974, represents the undeniable truth that Africa is the cradle of humanity. By starting here, Badawi immediately challenges the common misconception that African history begins with European contact or the transatlantic slave trade. The book explicitly frames Africa as the birthplace of humankind and presents its history through an African lens, rather than a colonial one. This is a crucial distinction. For too long, African history has been told from the perspective of outsiders, often minimizing African agency and distorting the truth. An African history of Africa covers a vast expanse of time, from the origins of humankind through ancient civilizations, then into colonial conquest, the transatlantic slave trade, independence struggles, and finally, post-colonial nation-building. It's a comprehensive journey that reveals the richness and complexity of the African continent. One of the book's most significant contributions is its emphasis on Africa as a connected historical space. Instead of treating Egypt, West Africa, or Southern Africa as separate, isolated stories, Badawi weaves them together, highlighting the interconnectedness of African cultures and histories. This is a major departure from older treatments that often fragmented the continent into disparate regions. The subtitle, From the Dawn of Humanity to Independence, is also significant. It signals that the book links deep prehistory to modern political sovereignty in one continuous narrative. This underscores the idea that Africa's present is inextricably linked to its past, and that understanding this past is essential for navigating the challenges of the future. Reviewers have described the book as a long overdue corrective to older narratives, and its framing implies that the common classroom idea that African history starts with European arrival is historically false or at least deeply incomplete. It should be studied in schools and made widely available. It is a crucial text in public education. So, what makes this book so groundbreaking? It challenges the long-running tendency in popular history to treat Africa mainly through the lens of slavery, colonialism, and crisis. Instead, it presents Africa as a producer of civilizations, ideas, and political systems. Colonialism and the transatlantic slave trade are presented as catastrophic disruptions, rather than the defining features of African history. By linking early human origins to later political history, the book pushes readers to see Africa as foundational to the history of the species, not peripheral to it. The author doesn't shy away from the difficult realities of post-independence Africa. She addresses the genocides, apartheid, epidemics, and political unrest that have plagued the continent. This honesty is crucial for understanding why decolonization did not automatically produce stable states. The book's exploration of nation-building after independence speaks directly to contemporary issues in states still dealing with weak institutions, political fragmentation, and post-colonial borders. The anti-colonial framing is also relevant to current debates about curriculum reform, museum repatriation, and whose perspective defines African history in schools and media. By centering Africa's deep past, it also intersects with modern African identity politics, especially arguments that Africans should not be defined primarily through external conquest or dependency narratives. Badawi's treatment of epidemics and unrest connects to present-day discussions of public health capacity, governance, and resilience across the continent. One of the major controversies in African historiography is the long dominance of Eurocentric narratives that marginalize African agency. This book is explicitly positioned against that tradition. It seeks to recover untold truths and correct distorted narratives about Africa before and after colonial invasion. The claim that humanity began in Africa is scientifically mainstream, but it remains politically significant because it directly contradicts older racialized and colonial assumptions about Africa's place in world history. The broader suppressed history issue is that many school systems historically emphasized European expansion more than African political, intellectual, and technological development. This book is meant as a corrective to that imbalance. The book's focus on colonial violence, slave trading, and post-independence instability also places it within a contested field where different audiences may disagree about how much emphasis should fall on external exploitation versus internal political dynamics. Let's highlight 10 high-impact facts from this book, facts that truly reshape our understanding of African history. First, the discovery of Dinknesh, or Lucy, in Ethiopia, places the origin of humanity firmly in Africa, challenging Eurocentric views. Second, An African History of Africa presents Africa as a connected historical space, rather than a collection of isolated regions. Third, the book reframes colonialism and the transatlantic slave trade as disruptions, not the defining characteristics of African history. Fourth, it emphasizes African agency and achievement, countering narratives that minimize African contributions to world civilization. Fifth, the book addresses the challenges of post-independence Africa with honesty and nuance, avoiding simplistic narratives of success or failure. Sixth, it highlights the interconnectedness of Africa's past and present, showing how historical events continue to shape contemporary issues. Seventh, Badawi's work is a direct response to Eurocentric narratives that have dominated African historiography for centuries. 8. The book aims to recover untold truths and correct distorted narratives about Africa before and after colonial invasion. 9th, it challenges the common misconception that African history begins with European contact or the transatlantic slave trade. And 10th, An African History of Africa is a crucial text for promoting a more accurate and balanced understanding of African history in schools and beyond. In conclusion, Zeinab Badawi's An African History of Africa is more than just a book, it's a paradigm shift. It's a powerful reminder that African history is world history, and that understanding this history is essential for building a more just and equitable future. It is a must-read for anyone seeking a deeper understanding of the continent's past and its enduring legacy.